Thank you, Honorable Labonta. Judicial officer is described in the Constitution, I think under section 318. So I think his motion will cover whatever the interpretation of judicial office is under 318 of the Constitution. Honorable colleagues, I think we have exhausted this. Those in favor of the motion, please say aye. I understand, one second, that there are some amendments which they passed to me. Honorable Jimmy Benson is not here to move his amendment. He's not here. End of his amendment. Okay, Honorable Ikiruka, what was your amendment, please?
Ikiruka Onyejocha is my name. I Federal Constituency from Abia State. My amendment is that the motion should be referred to a judiciary committee when constituted. That we should delete the ad hoc committee that he was referring the motion.
Any seconder to the amendment, please? That we refer this instead of an ad hoc committee to the judicial committee when constituted. Any second, Honorable Faleke.
My name is James Faleke, Representative Federal Constituency. I rise to second the amendment duly moved by my colleague. I so second.
Those in favor of the motion as amended, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. The ayes have it.
Point of order, sir.
Point of order, sir.
Point of order.
Honorable TJ Yusuf, what's your point of order?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. I come under 6 privilege, sir. Yes, sir. Page 14, sir. Page 14. Do I need to read that? Just go ahead, sir. Go ahead, sir. Sir, Mr. Speaker, sir. I am a member of PDP and one of the minority parties. I'm privileged, Mr. Speaker, to be at every consultation, meetings, where the decision we arrive at or who become minority leader, deputy minority leader, or so on. Now with me here, Mr. Speaker, sir, attendance signatures of all the meetings. I'm not privileged to be at the meeting where the other resolution that you read.
Honorable TJ Yusuf, you can take that up with the new minority leader, Honorable Elumelu. Honorable colleagues, I have another announcement here. In line, before we get back to the rest of the order of the day, in line with our rules, Order 7, Rule 4, on the Constitution of the Majority Leadership. Order 7, Rule 4 of our rules says, the leader of the House shall be a member nominated from among members of the majority party. It goes on in order 5, in rule 5, rule 6, and rule 7 to give the same provisions as to the appointment or election of the rest of the majority leadership position. And in line with that, I have received a communication from the All Progressive Congress members, the caucus in the House. And it says, we, the undersigned, members of the House of Representatives, APC caucus, hereby endorse the following honorable members as principal officers with their accompanying signatures. Honorable Al-Hassan Ado Dogwa, House Leader. Honorable Mohammed Tahir Mongunu, Chief Whip. Honorable Inkuruka Onyejocha, the Deputy Chief Whip. And Honorable Peter Akpatase, Deputy Leader. Honorable colleagues, honorable colleagues, which communication?
Point of order, sir. Point of order, sir.
Honorable colleagues, please take your seats. Please take your seats, honorable colleagues.
Point of order, sir.
Honorable colleagues, please let's proceed.
Okay. Honorable members, please take your seats.
Take your seat. Go get the fire.
Order, sir. Honorable members, please take your seats. Honorable members, resume your seats. Point of order, sir. Point of order, Mr. Speaker. Thank you very much. Honorable members, please resume your seat. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Honorable colleagues, in accordance with the provisions of our House rules, therefore, the leadership of the House is now legally constituted. I don't know if either of the leaders have anything to say to the address. It's optional, very optional. Either Honorable Elumelu or Honorable Dogwa. Honorable colleagues, you may be seated. Honorable colleagues, you may be seated. Honorable Dogwa. Leader.
Honorable members, please resume your seats.
Can we move on, or do you have a
Honorable
statement?
leaders, please resume your seats. So that the business
have a
of the day
statement?
will continue.
Go ahead. The House leader has a statement to make. Can you be seated, please?
Leadership of the opposition, please finish the presentation quickly.
Honorable colleagues, the House Whip is calling everybody to order. The Whip is calling everybody to order. House Whip, well done.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له له الملك وله الحمد وهو على كل شيء قدير وما تشاءون إلا أن يشاء الله رب العالمين. Mr. Speaker, all praise be to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the creator of the universe, the giver of power, and he also takes power to whoever he wishes at any given circumstances. Mr. Speaker, I rise before you and before these hallowed chambers with my respected colleagues seated to make a brief comment or remarks on behalf of the leadership of the majority party that you just announced. Mr. Speaker, my distinguished colleagues, I have to start, like I said, from the deepest part of my heart and with all sense of responsibility and humility, Mr. Speaker, to thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for sparing my life and by extension the lives of the members of this house and co-leaders, body of principal officers, both the majority and the minority leadership of this house. We are witnessing a milestone. I personally and particularly want to thank God once again for sparing my life to witness this important milestone in my history. My history, I mean my political history. Mr. Speaker, you may recall that I started on these green chambers on the 4th of July 1992 as a floor member of this very important house. Under the People's Democratic Party, the SDP, Social Democratic Party, the SDP. Mr. Speaker, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, in those days, my colleagues in the House were the likes of Oji Uzokalu, the former governor of Abia State. My mates in the House of Representatives, in the House of Reps then, my colleagues included the former governor of Kano State, Dr. Rabi Musa Kongoso, of blessed memory politically. My big brother, I want to say that since then, Mr. Speaker, I have set my eyes on this important seat, but God, in His infinite mercy, has not granted me that opportunity in those days. Mr. Speaker, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, you may also recall that only in the last 4 years, I almost got to this point of my political history, even though through the back door. God did not wish it that way. Mr. Speaker, with due respect to you, and with due respect to my colleagues in the 8th House of Representatives, and even what transpired in that circumstances, I stand bold to tell you that today I'm a proud person. I am now receiving what I've been eyeing through the front door, and in my right hand, through the leverage and the intervention of my great party, the APC. Mr. Speaker, I am today a proud person that I am only getting to this seat under what we call the supremacy of our own great party, APC, under the leadership of Right Comrade Adams Oshomole. Also, coming here legitimately and in compliance with the rules, extant rules of this honorable house, where members across the 6 geopolitical zone endorsed me with all sense of humility, my dear brothers. Not because I'm in any way better than any one of you here, but in the spirit of one united APC delivered me here as a sole nominee for this very important and critical position I'm today occupying. Mr. Speaker, naturally, I am short of words. I am short of words to qualify my appreciation and my gratitude to my gentle colleagues who have accorded me this immeasurable solidarity in the name of party supremacy. Mr. Speaker, I would like to use this opportunity and indeed on behalf of the leadership of the majority party of this great house, 9th House of Representatives, to extend our heartfelt appreciation to your humble self, whom of course every one of us here knows the time you took to prevail on so many other people who were rightfully entitled to contend. And under the same circumstances of being a family party, you have been able to prevail on all of us. And here am I, imagine the leader of this great House of Representatives in the 9th Assembly session, unopposed. I thank you so much, Mr. Speaker. And through you, convey and extend our appreciation and gratitude to the peacemaker. Today, I address you, the peacemaker, a very humble gentleman, shock absorber, the Deputy Speaker of the 9th House of Representatives, in person of Ahmed Idris Wase. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in his infinite mercy, reward you, the Speaker, and reward you for the very diligent responsibility and exhibition of leadership which you have taken starting from yesterday. Mr. Speaker, I would like also, without missing one, to express my gratitude as well, immeasurable gratitude, to about 4 or 5 notable gentlemen and members of these great chambers who have willingly, who have individually and collectively deferred to the supremacy of our great party, the APC. I have to mention them, Mr. Speaker, if you permit me. Right Honorable Musa Serkin Adar, a very great person, a treasure of knowledge, an elder statesman as far as parliamentary politics is concerned, I think beyond, even beyond, a member representing Gada, Goronyo in Sokoto State. He is one personality who has exhibited a sheer expression of leadership without any personal interest. Yesterday, in the course of our deliberation, in the course of our last engagement, to come to this point, Mr. Speaker. Honorable Garba Detti is also an elder state person within the context of our parliamentary politics. He was part of those who unconditionally conceded to the party and allowed me to emerge the way I'm emerging today. Garba Detti, a member from Kaduna State, Sabon Garin Zaria, who, if I go into history, is an extension of the Gaya Emirate, new emirate in my state. Garba Detti, I thank you so much for this exhibition of leadership. Mr. Speaker, I have on the list Right Honorable Magajidau, an elderly person as well, a complete gentleman, an epitome of Malam Aminu Kano on this green chamber, who has always been dressing the attire of late Malam Aminu Kano with his suit and has not forgotten the red cap on his head. Magajidau, my brother from Jigawa State, has also contributed to this peacemaking process. In the end, Mr. Speaker, I have to commend my very good brother, a comrade, a fellow compatriot, man from where we call the progressive state of Kano, where you could see disputes, you could see frictions, you could see noise making, but in the end, we know ourselves, we can be able to resolve and get things right for ourselves. Aminu Goro, like I've always said, has also exhibited that sense of statesmanship. He has also exhibited that sense of selflessness and withdrew yesterday upon your intervention, the intervention of the peacemaker, the intervention of the Deputy Speaker, without any condition attached to his withdrawal. Mr. Speaker, I cannot conclude without thanking each and every one member of this great House who have also contributed individually and collectively. Some of them did spiritually, some others did temporally. Mr. Speaker, I commend and thank each and every single member of this great chamber. What I cannot forget to mention, sir, is the story of the Mr. Fixit of the 8th and the 9th House of Representatives. He was very busy here in the center, playing the politics of the center in Abuja, and successfully delivered you and delivered all of this house under the name of the APC family, and now made our dream a reality. When I look at you up there, Mr. Speaker, I feel emotional. God has granted me the time, granted me the space to see you in chair, presiding so marvelously. All these were the handwork of my brother, my junior brother. If I wish, I say junior brother. When first I came to the House of Reps in 1992, Jibril was just finishing his secondary school. But a very intelligent boy and gentleman. Mr. Speaker, after finishing the work in the center, Mr. Fixit went back home, went to locals, because all politics is local. I want to say without any fear of contradiction to every one of you that Abdul Munir Jibril played a very critical role, very key role in arriving at today's development. Mr. Jibril, I thank you so much. And I will use my binocular to say, Allah imaka albarka. Allah imaka albarka. Allah imaka albarka. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen.
You know, you are preaching the rules of the house. Because you are speaking vernacular. Please translate that to English so that we can all understand. Amen. Amen.
Point of order, Mr. Speaker.
I cannot finish this brief remarks, Mr. Speaker, without thanking the leaders of the opposition. The opposition I want to address is constructive opposition under the leadership of the man of God. I want to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, that we have in the name of opposition a God-fearing person, even though he controls some volume of cash in his pocket. Elumolu, I extend on behalf of the leadership of the majority party, and by extension on behalf of the APC family gently seated on the floor of this house, our gratitude for your emergence. I congratulate you, congratulate all other members on the body of your opposition leadership, and through you, I extend same to the board of trustees of your own party. I'm not sure whether the party is a great party, but your own party, even if it's not great. My concern, Mr. Speaker, is to thank him so much. For what he has done. Elumelu, Indudi Elumelu, Elumelu.
What's your point of order? Yes. Okay.
And I believe that we should have respect for our various parties. And I don't know who that I normally tell that he's not on top of himself. I had expected that he should know that PDP is the greatest party in Africa. Mr. Speaker, for him to refer my party, that he doesn't know whether my party is great. Please, Mr. Speaker, I know you to be a just man, to be a man that is upright. I want him to withdraw that statement. Thank you. Yes.
Okay, thank you, Honorable Melo. You've spoken like a true minority leader. Well, you know, there's in English, there's great, greater, and greatest. Yours is truly a great party. His is the greatest party.
Point of order, Mr. Speaker. Point of order, Mr. Speaker.
Please, we will allow Honorable Adodogwa to finish his statement to the House, and then we can move on with the point of order.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for that guidance. I missed what I should have said. Indudu Elumelu, the leader of the PDP opposition, the opposition on the floor of this House, I meant to say the leader of a great party, while myself being the leader of the greatest party. Indudu Elumelu, I thank you for this correction, and I quickly went back to history and remembered I also started in a small way from your own smaller party. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, without taking so much time, summarily, Mr. Speaker, the last point I want to make, the last point I would like to make, which is institutional, the last point I want to make, which is critical and crucial, is to also extend our hands. When I said our, I mean ours in terms of the generality of the APC members here, and also indeed on behalf of the APC ruling government led by Muhammadu Buhari. I hereby extend hands of fellowship to this constructive and progressive crew of the opposition leadership on the floor of the House led by Edudu Alimelu. That join us not in the principles of party, but join hands with us to engage the executive arm of government, including all other political parties. I'm guided, sir. Join hands with the leadership of the majority party to engage the executive arm of government constructively, positively, but in the overall interest of the Nigerian people, our own electorate. While we are engaging them, we also must not forget that a government is always an embodiment of three arms of institution: the legislature, the executive, and indeed the judiciary. And no one single arm of such a government can function without the other. If unfortunately the government fails, it's not the legislature alone, it's not the executive alone that fails. It is the collectivity of these three arms of government that are failing. God forbid. Buhari's government will not fail because we have a progressive opposition on the floor of this House. Let us join hands, and indeed without compromising the standards, without compromising the convention, without compromising the traditions, engage them and make sure while doing that we protect the integrity and the independence of this great institution we call the Nigerian National Assembly. Mr. Speaker, I thank you once again. Deputy Speaker, I thank you once again. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, especially the elders, ranking by age, Right Honorable Jerry, ranking by age, I thank you twice more. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I cannot conclude but making a slight correction, because I have oversighted the name of another pillar, especially in the northwestern modern politics. A very silent person, but a silent achiever. He looks seamlessly harmless, but he could be on board something else. Great Babangida of Malumpashi, Babangida Mahuja, was also part of those who deferred to the party and deferred to this family of the APC in the yesterday's meeting. Babangida, I thank you. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I want at this point to say a very big thank you to each and every one of you. Mr. Speaker, I thank you. My dear colleagues, I thank you. I have made my day a fulfillment that I've always lost. Today, I stand before you accomplishing this life dream, life accomplishment. To God be the glory. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Acting Whip, Mr. Baleke.
Thank you, House Leader.
What?
Anybody? Okay, Honorable TJ Yusuf, you have yet another point of order? Okay, we'll move on.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, distinguished colleagues. I come under privilege order 602. Mr. Speaker, in the spirit of reconciliation and also to sustain the integrity of the House, I would not like the war. My name is Honorable Dan Asuko. I represent Akankwa Biase Federal Constituency, and I'm from Cross River State, the land of peace, harmony, and love. Mr. Speaker, yesterday so much happened. I do not want us to go back to what happened yesterday, but we know that as members of this hollow chamber, And as politicians, we must fight for our rights. The rights will be defined in each way. You will do things right, you say you are right. The other person will contend on how you've done it is not right. I want to use this privilege to enjoin Mr. Speaker that our duty as members of this House of Representatives is to protect the integrity of the seat and the integrity of the House. Whatever had happened yesterday was not in any way to slight your office or your position. It was trying to prove that norms that we are used to might have not been followed properly. But when Mr. Speaker gave the reasons for going by what he has, our law says he has the power to rule, and he rules. Mr. Speaker, I'm a member of the People's Democratic Party. I support the fact that things should be done properly. But in doing that, I also know that there are rules in the house. In line with the rules you have cited, I want to join you, Mr. Speaker, to let go of what happened yesterday. Nigerians to let go of what happened yesterday. We accept your leadership. We accept your ruling. And I repeat, we will, as People's Democratic Party, go back home and reorganize ourselves. But you have ruled that you want to go by the rules of the House. At home, who called me yesterday and said, Daddy, what happened? That it is the business of the Nigerian legislature. There is no victor, no bank. In here, we are serving the Nigerian people. Might have been true any political party, but what we want is a smooth house, be able to move the business of Nigeria forward. Thank you, honorable colleagues. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, Honorable Dan Asuko. Thank you for your magnanimity. Thank you for your political maturity. Like you rightly said, or for me, what happened yesterday was not about me. It was about the institution which I have committed the last 20 years of my life to build and protect. So it wasn't about me at all. Because speakers will come, and speakers will go, but the institution will remain. And that's why we must do everything we can to protect the institution, to do what is right and set it at par with parliaments world over and international best parliamentary practices. And because of that, we also have a procedure. The House, if I can speak on behalf of the House, maybe not, has accepted the statement. But there's also a procedure. A statement or a motion was moved by Honorable Ben Kalu. In that line, the process continues. We will read the names which I have here of the ad hoc coming, because you are bringing a new procedure now, and I actually commend you for your magnanimity. But what you are basically trying to do is to arrest the process. It's like arresting a judgment, which even the courts do not do. In our own case, we have a process for doing that, and that would be for Honorable Ben himself, or anybody for that matter, to bring a motion for rescission. And until the motion for rescission is brought, and the House, in its wisdom, decides to rescind that process, there is very little we can do. let it go to the ethics ad hoc committee, and then we'll take it from there, pick up the pieces, determine what needs to be done. Again, for the protection of the institution. And I thank you once again for your magnanimity. The names of the members of the ad hoc committee are as follows: Maki Yeleman, James Faleke, Idu Igariwe, Honorable Noli Naji, Honorable Adeyemi Peter Akpatase, Honorable Ononuga, Honorable Saad Abdul Kadir, Honorable Tijani Ahmed, Honorable Yusuf Buba, Honorable Barrister Adederi. The committee will be chaired by Honorable Peter Akpatase. What's your point of order? Yeah, withdrawing your... Okay, thank you. I have another message or communication here from the minority leader, Honorable Ndudi Elumelu. There will be a meeting of all the minority parties immediately after sitting in hearing room 1. Signed, Honorable Ndudi Elumelu. So we proceed. Honorable Dike, I believe you have a... Do you mind, do you mind, can this wait till Tuesday? So that because the day is far gone and we have several motions coming up. I know you were supposed to take this today, I am aware. But can you just, do you mind, can we take this on Tuesday? Can we suspend all other motions of urgent public importance so that we can get to the order paper proper? We'll take it on Tuesday. Is that okay?
Yeah. Yes, Mr. Speaker, I don't mind, but the urgency because of lives that are lost. So if you say Tuesday, there's no problem.
Please, Honorable JK, please. I know you approached me yesterday and we had agreed on today but we did not foresee that at 2:15. At 2:15, we wouldn't even have gotten to the order paper yet. And there are other motions as well, which we'll suspend till next week, except something that is actually very, very urgent, which is that of Honorable Fago, before we get to the order paper. Honorable Fago.
Order, please. Order. Order. Silence, please. Honorable Ishaka. Honorable Ishaka. Honorable Ishaka, resume your seat. Honorable Ishaka, resume your seat. Sit. Honorable Akinjo. Resume your seat or quietly exit.
Mr. Speaker, sir, my honorable colleagues, good afternoon. I am Honorable Kani Abubakar Fago, member representing Shira Giade Federal Constituency of Bauchi State. Mr. Speaker, sir, my honorable colleagues, I am coming under Order 8, Rule 4, as contained in page 32 of our standing orders to present a motion on the urgent need to investigate the recent crisis surrounding the inauguration of the Bauchi State 9th Assembly and the circumstances that led to the emergence of two presiding officers. Mr. Speaker, sir, I so move.
Honorable Koko. Any seconder? I don't want anybody from Bauchi State. Okay, you can second. Honorable Koko, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I am Honorable CSP Show Koko retired. Arise, second, as moved by my colleague. Thank you.
Those in support of the motion that this matter is urgent enough, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. The ayes have it. Honorable, please move that we suspend our rules to very quickly take this matter.
Mr. Speaker, sir, my honorable colleague, good afternoon. Once again, I remain Honorable Kani Abubakar Fago, member representing Shiragiani Federal Constituency of Bauchi State. Mr. Speaker, sir, I rise to apply for the suspension or for the setting aside of relevant laws to take the lead of this honorable house to allow me to present my motion and deliberate on it. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Any seconder? Honorable, please go ahead. Second the motion for suspension.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honorable colleagues, my name is Tajidin Adebisoye. I'm a member of YPF. I represent the good people of the Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I am from Ondo State. I rise to second the motion as moved by my honorable colleague. I so move. I so second, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Honorable, please go ahead with your motion.
My honorable colleagues, good afternoon. I am Honorable Kani Abubakar Pago, representing the good people of Shira and here the federal constituency of Bauchi State. Mr. Speaker, sir, I rise to move a motion under matter of urgent public importance on the urgent need to investigate the crisis surrounding the inauguration of the Bauchi 9 Assembly and the circumstances that led to the emergence of two presiding officers. Mr. Speaker, sir, the House note that on Thursday, 20th of June 2019, the inauguration of the 9th Assembly of Bauchi State took place with the bizarre emergence of two elected speakers. Further note that one of the elected speakers, Abubakar Suleiman, was elected by only 11 members. Informed that despite the fact that the proclamation issued by the governor of Bauchi State in accordance with section 150 subsection 3 of the 1999 Constitution as amended, stated that the inaugural session of the House shall commence on Thursday, 20th June 2019 at 10 a.m. A group of 11 lawmakers, allegedly loyal to some powerful individuals in the state, sneaked into the chambers in the wee hours of Thursday, 20th June, and conducted the inaugural proceeding at about 6 a.m., electing Abubakar Suleiman of APC as Speaker and Ahmed Kaule of the PDP as Deputy Speaker. Further informed that when the other 21 APC lawmakers arrived the premises of the State Assembly at about 9 a.m., they were locked out and forcibly prevented from gaining access into the chambers, a situation that forced them to hold their own separate inaugural proceedings outside the chambers, electing their own Speaker, Kawwa Shehu Damana, and Deputy Speaker, Shukru Ibrahim. Aware that separation of powers and the independence of legislature is a cardinal principle of the Barbarian democracy, and therefore any executive interference in the emergence of presiding officers of the House will be detrimental to the principle of separation of power and parliamentary independence. Further aware that Section 92, subsection 1 of the 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria stipulates that there shall be a Speaker and a Deputy Speaker of a House of Assembly, who shall be elected by members of the House from among themselves. Informed that 11 members out of a 31-member assembly cannot be seen to fulfill the import and intendment of the constitutional provision in Section 92, subsection 1. Further informed that in the absence of a lawful inauguration, in accordance with the constitutional provision of Section 2, subsection 1 of the 1999 Constitution as amended, all actions purportedly carried out or to be carried out by the governor and government of Bauchi State without the approval of a properly constituted legislature shall be null and void and of no effect. Mr. Speaker, sir, worrisome that if this incident is left unchecked, if this incident is left unresolved,
Silence, please, silence.
it might set a dangerous precedent that may undermine and attempt to institutionalize sound democratic culture and good governance in our state. Mr. Speaker, sir, our resolve that this Honorable House, as a matter of urgency, one, should condemn the unfortunate circumstance leading to the emergence of two presiding officers in the inaugural session of the Bosnian House of Assembly conducted on the 20th of June 2019. Two, set up an ad hoc committee to investigate the unfortunate circumstance leading to the emergence of two elected speakers on the inaugural day of the Bosnian State House of Assembly on 20th June 2019. Three, mandate the ad hoc committee to report to the House within 1 week. And four, pass a resolution that all action by the Bauchi State government and the governor of Bauchi State executed without the approval of a properly constituted legislature shall be null and void and tantamount to a constitutional breach of the provision of the 99 Constitution as amended. Mr. Speaker, sir, I so move.
Thank you, Honorable Fago. Is there a seconder to this motion, please? Why? Go ahead, Honorable.
My name is Jima Abdurrahim Bayland, Federal Constituency, Lagos State. I stand to second that motion as more because it's very germane and important. Thank you very much.
Those in support say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Honorable Fago, please lead the debate.
Mr. Speaker, sir, my honorable colleagues, good afternoon. Once more, I am Honorable Kani Abubakar Fago, member representing the good people of Shira and Kiale Federal Constituency of Bauchi State. Mr. Speaker, sir, before I go into the debate, I want to plead with this House, this Honorable House, to bear with me being my first outing as a legislator. I want to say that I happen to be a co-civil servant, a retired permanent secretary per se. So, Mr. Speaker, sir, I choose to lead this debate on a script. The Honorable Speaker, sir, the content of my motion is self-explanatory. But because of the importance attached to my motion, I consider it important to re-emphasize on the needs of this Honorable House to urgently intervene, to urgently investigate, if not taking the affairs of the Bauchi State House of Assembly as provided under the 1999 Constitution and the enabling provision of the Constitution. Mr. Speaker, sir, this became inevitable due to the fact that the Bauchi State House of Assembly was not properly inaugurated in line with the law, as a result of which we now have two speakers and deputy speakers who emerged in a parallel election conducted in the legislative complex on the 20th of June 2019. Mr. Speaker, sir, this sad development has thrown our democracy shambles, and the Bauchi State House of Assembly is at present unable to perform its function, as it can neither hold any meeting nor transact any legislative business. Mr. Speaker, sir, my honorable colleagues, the summary of events on the Bauchi State 9th Assembly inauguration is as follows. 1. Following the successful conduct of the 2019 general election, the All Progressive Congress won the majority seat of 22 out of 21 members of the Bauchi State House of Assembly, which to be inaugurated as the 9th Assembly of Bauchi State in the present democratic dispensation. Mr. Speaker, sir, open the proclamation of the Bauchi State Governor to inaugurate the 9th Assembly on the 17th June 2019 at 10 a.m. A notice of inauguration was sent to the party chairman and all honorable elected members from various constituencies across the state. The copy of the first notice of inauguration dated 3rd June 2019 is here with me as Exhibit A. 2. The current government of Bauchi State and its party have majority members of 8 out of 31 and was secured by the majority members of the APC, who would apparently take control of the Bauchi State House of Assembly. Thus, the government opted to use one barrister, Umar Yusuf Yital, legal officer of the House of Assembly, to actualize its plan to impose its majority members on the majority APC at all costs. Therefore, government illegally removed the substantive clerk to the House of Assembly, Abubakar Bappa Jafar, and replaced him with the said legal advisor as acting clerk on the 13th June 2019. Copy of the postal letter dated 13th June 2019 is here with me as Exhibit 2. Okay, the new clerk, instead of applying the governor's proclamation in line with Order 2, Rule 2 of the Bauchi State House of Assembly Standing Order, clearly postponed the 9th Assembly inauguration from 20th June 2019 from 17th to 20th June 2019 by a letter dated 19th June, which was duly served on the state chairman of the APC and all other elected members. My prayers. Finally, the Honorable Speaker, sir, my honorable colleagues, it is my belief and the general belief of the majority of the people of Bauchi State that this matter is the topmost concern of 99%, if not 100%, of the peace-loving people of Bauchi State. Mr. Speaker, sir, honorable colleagues, I urge you to use our constitutional powers to intervene and save our democracy from imminent collapse and to prevent anarchy in Bauchi State. The Honorable Speaker, sir, I so submit.
this is an investigative matter ordinarily, but because it has a constitutional dimension to it, I think we'll just take one or two contributions.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
If you want to contribute, hit that green button, the small console. If you want to contribute, go ahead, Honorable.
I represent Chibok, Dambua, Goza Federal Constituency. I'm from Borno State. Mr. Speaker, as a former member of the State House of Assembly with nothing less than 8 years cognate experience, I know how painful it is for a house to be led by a decision of some group of individuals who decided to violate the content of the Nigerian Constitution on one hand, and the standing orders of that particular house on the other hand, to promote their parochial interest or primordial sentiment. Mr. Speaker, politics is local, and state houses of assembly members are true representatives that are close to the grassroots. In other words, the issue of state house of assembly is so critical to the development of a state compared to any form of legislative formation. Another thing, this thing happened in 2015, we are all aware, in a chamber where people violate the content of proclamation written by the president and inaugurated a house, thereby selecting leaders by few members in that particular house. Another thing, if we allow this thing to happen, naturally, impediment variable is a mere challenge at the point of origin. But if you allow it to continue, it will become a serious problem at the point of destination. For those of us from Borno, we know how expensive, how difficult a crisis is. And we don't want that particular crisis to happen in any part of this world, particularly a state that is closely bounding Borno as a state. For that matter, I have my word behind the mover of this motion, that this House should take a measure to avoid or prevent any formation of legislative house in the near future or in the far future. We shouldn't have a situation whereby members, because of their personal interest and because of the control they have on the existing authority or constituted authority, inaugurated a house a minute after 12 midnight on the proclamation day. If we are not going to emphasize on the timing, particularly with regards to get and the exact time stipulated, written, signed and submitted by the executive governor or the president before the inauguration takes place, is going to be a problem. For that matter, sir, we should do something and give example as precedence in Bauchi to avoid the reoccurrence of the same problem in any part of this country. So I submit. Thank you.
Honorable colleagues, please, if you don't mind, we will close this because it's an investigative motion and there's still so much ground to cover. We'll close this debate on this matter and refer it to an ad hoc committee as per the prayers of the mover. and go on to take one or two matters on the other paper. I'll read out the list of the ad hoc committee before we close for the day. So I'll put the question. Those in favor of this motion, please say aye. Those against it, please say no. The ayes have it. Honorable members, the business of the day is the presentation of 21 bills. I now invite the clerk to read their short titles.
Honorable Speaker, honorable members, Non-Sector Development Commission Establishment Bill 2019, first reading. Local Industry Partnership Bill 2019, first reading. Crime and Criminal Tracking System Bill 2019, first reading. Anatomy Act Amendment Bill 2019, first reading. Marriage Act Amendment Bill 2019, first reading. Casino Taxation Act Amendment Bill 2019, first reading. Export Prohibition Act Repeal Bill 2019, first reading. Investment and Security Act Amendment Bill 2019, first reading. Nigerian College of Aviation Technology Amendment Bill 2019, first reading. National Center for Oral Health Research and Training Initiative Establishment Social Bill 2019, first reading. Certified Council of Allied Dental Health Professionals Establishment Bill 2019, first reading. India Export Processing Zones Authority Act, Repeal and Enactment Bill 2019, first reading. Investment and Security Act Amendment Bill 2019, first reading. National Crop Varieties and Livestock Breeds Act Amendment Bill 2019, first reading. FET HIV/AIDS Control Agency Bill 2019, first reading. Charter Institute of Export and Commodity Brokers of Nigeria Bill 2019, first reading. National Permanent Health Care Development Agency Act Amendment Bill 2019, first reading. Commodities Exchange Bill 2019, first reading. Emergency Communication Bill 2019, first reading. Telecommunication Facilities Lawful Interception of Information Bill 2019, first reading. Satellite Town Development Agency Bill 2019, first reading.
The first order of the day is a motion on fuel tanker explosion at Ahumbe community in Gwere East local government of Benue State that claimed over 50 lives, standing in the name of Honorable Mark Bila. Honorable Bila is invited to move the motion. Oh, okay, sorry, it's not around. I actually have a communication from Honorable Bila. It says, I am currently not in the right frame of mind to take my motion, and I would like to appeal that you please step it down for another legislative day. Thank you very much. I have to read that so that you will be on record that Honorable Bila stepped down his motion. So motion step down, hopefully for the next legislative day. The second order of the day is an urgent need to investigate the menace of call making, call refilling in the country, standing in the name of Honorable Shawulu. Honorable Shawulu is invited to move the motion. Honorable Shawulu is not around. Motion withdrawn. The third order of the day is a motion on need to combat the rising crime of banditry, kidnapping, and cattle rustling across several local government areas of Sokoto State. Standing in the name of Honorable Muhammadu Bagaja and 5 other members, Honorable Bagaja is invited to move the motion. Is Honorable Bagaja here? He's not here. Motion withdrawn. Honorable Bakaya, go ahead.
Honorable Speaker, honorable members, I'm presenting Isa Sabon Military Constituency Sokoto State. This issue we are facing, the security matters we are facing in that state, and the other local government within the state, we are facing a lot of challenges in the issue of insecurity, because most of our roads were being blocked by bandits, as well as our farmers will never go to their farm unless they pay levy. Start from the moment any farming.
Honorable Bagaja, you're supposed to read the motion. Yeah, are you debating the motion? You've got to read it first, or read the title first, and then you have it seconded before we get to the issue of debate.
All the need to combat the rising cases of banditry, kidnappers, and the cattle rustlers across the several local government areas in Sokoto State. The local government include Isa, Sabon Birni, Waranyo, Gada, Wurno, Raba, Treta, Kabe, and Tambwal. Others are Udu and Tangaza. So it is. I mentioned Isa, Sabon Birni, Wurno, Raba, local government, Gada, Tambwal, Kabe, Tangaza, Udu, Treta. Notice the issue has been experiencing series of attacks by invading bandits for a long period of time, leading a loss of life. Many innocent people have been confiscated of their property, including livestock, foodstuff, and other essential commodities, and displacement of thousands of villages, including women and children. Also, note that the attack have already affected agricultural and economic activities in the communities, thereby making farming and other business activities almost impossible. They inform that attack by those invading bandits out of the states of Zamfara, Katsina, Kaduna, and the neighboring Niger Republic. Thereby creating livelihood crisis in the whole of the northwest geographical zone of the country. A situation that had the people to live in fear, uncertainty, and internally displaced person campus establishes in the various locations across the local government areas. Acknowledge the effort made by the Deputy Governor for the providing and the protection of commodities, provision, foodstuff, and shelter, medication, and the other requirements at various times. Concerned about the consequences of the prolonged attack and the displacement of people from the communities, including destruction of infrastructures, closure of primary schools, and increasing rates of poverty and unemployment. And concerned that across the road in that local government
they have been blocked by the bandits, whereby most of our local government, the kidnappers have blocked our road linking to our state capital.
Honorable, have you started debating? Honorable colleagues, we hereby suspend our rules. Please continue. Continue. Even I wasn't paying attention. I'm sorry. I would have given you proper guidance. I'm sorry. But continue with your debate.
Furthermore, sir, the certain villages were being affected by kidnappers, whereby we have almost 140 people who have been kidnapped. 260 were killed within this shortest period of time. So I pray for the audience, the National Emergency Management Agency to provide the relief materials to the communities. Also, all the Inspector General of Police and the other security agencies to flush out the bandit kidnappers and the other ugly kidnappers. With number 3, to set up other committee to pay the condolence visit to the government and the people of Sokoto State. Thank you.
Thank you, honorable colleagues. Let me just get straight to amendments. If there's any amendment to this motion, any amendment, otherwise, I will put the question. Do we have an amendment?
My honorable colleagues, I'm Ibrahim Al-Mustafa Aliyu, member representing Wunuraba constituency and from Sokoto State, Mr. Speaker. I'm a co-sponsor to the motion.
Of course, Honorable Ibrahim, yes. Sokoto, yes. You want to contribute to the debate? Yeah, please go ahead. I apologize. Go ahead.
Mr. Speaker, sir, my honorable colleagues, as earlier submitted, I'm Architect Ibrahim Al-Mustafa, member representing Wunuraba constituency. I'm from Sokoto State, Mr. Speaker. I rise up to, as a co-sponsor, add on the debate, on the motion on debate, sir. Raba and Wuruno local government happens to be part of my constituency, Mr. Speaker. And of recent, I'm sure the House and the Chair are fully aware of the incessant banditry attacks we are having around that area. Particularly in the last 1 year, we are able to record deaths of more than 200 people owing to this bandit attack. A lot of issues, or a lot of discussions and submissions have been made before this honorable chamber, Mr. Speaker. And I take those to be lamentations on the happenings that are becoming recurrent, Mr. Speaker. And I think what we need to do, Mr. Speaker, is to know the root cause of these problems. I was able, through my little research, to identify 3 issues. One, most of these infiltrators or these bandits that are now becoming a franchise by way of having an institutionalized system whereby they either kidnap or they maim and kill, steal, were sponsored by some other people that we don't know. They have a complete system where they have even their security checks. What can I call the informants that relate to them, who was able to sell cattle or who was able to sell anything and has money with him so that they can arrange to go and kidnap him and at the end of the day, call for ransom. So the issue is the poverty around the area, the issue of systematic collapse of our internal security, Mr. Speaker, are the issues that need to be looked into. The federal government, of course, have done a lot. There are soldiers mobilized around the area. But the major problem is, by the time the soldiers are on the other side, the bandits tend to move to the other end. We are neighboring the state of Zamfara, and unfortunately, Zamfara is almost embedded by these bandit activities. So I think what should be done, Mr. Speaker, or my candid submission, Mr. Speaker, is to set up a committee that will look into the internal security architecture of this country, because it's failing. It's seriously failing and needs to be checked. The DSS, the police, the NSCDS, and even the traditional rulers and the community leaders need to be brought on board so that this issue can be nipped. Otherwise, it has the tendency of consuming the whole Northwest and by extension the country if it continues going the way it is going. Mr. Speaker, as I'm talking to you now, over 5,000 of the inhabitants from different parts of my constituency are now displaced. Most of them now take refuge in primary schools and some of them in an open places. And the attendant consequences of, living outside your domain applies. They abandon their farmlands. The fear of food shortage and food insecurity is now looming. So this issue must be taken with all the serious attention, Mr. Speaker, so that we can be able to leave this issue as quickly as possible. There are other issues that I think in the initial attempt, we wanted to individually come in form of motion. But the fact that a member from Sokoto, particularly representing East and Southern Birni, was able to secure the attention of this House to present this motion, we choose to be co-sponsors. So I choose to speak on behalf of the other members that were not here. This issue extended, almost consuming 1/3 of Sokoto State now. Tureta, Gada, Goranyo, Kebe, and Tambuan are all facing this serious menace. So, Mr. Speaker, I so submit and hope that these issues will be taken seriously. Another committee be set up to go and find out the root causes of this issue and engage the security agents concerned for a review of the internal security architecture of this country that has failed. I would like to, on behalf of my constituency, extend the appreciation to the federal government. Yes, there are a lot of interventions in terms of palliatives, the issue of food and whatever, but those people need to be resettled. They need to be resettled. Either take them back to their communities, or you have a dedicated place for them so that they can continue their normal living. Mr. Speaker, I so submit.
Thank you, Honorable Aliu, for your contribution. I'll now put the question. Those in support. Amendment.
Amendment, Mr. Speaker.
Go ahead.
Mr. Speaker, I remain Honorable Abubakar Yabgara, member representing Kenya Pride and God. Mr. Speaker, I have an amendment in the case. I want this Honorable House to call on the state government to align with the security agencies to provide security for the farmers as they farm to avert food shortage because we are in the rainy season.
Any seconder?
Yes,
Any seconder to the amendment? Honorable Yusuf.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'm Yusuf Buba Yakub. I represent Gombe on Federal Constituency from Adama State. I rise to second the motion moved by my honorable colleague. I so second.
Those in favor of the amendment say aye. Those against say no. The ayes have it. Those in favor of the another amendment, Honorable Simon.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My name is Simon Malcolm. I'm from Plateau State, and I represent the people of Barcelona and your federal constituency. Mr. Speaker, I would like to amend the third prayer in the last, which says that set up an ad hoc committee to pay a condolence visit to the governor and the people of Sokoto State. I think that is a little bit cumbersome because of the challenges we have day in, day out. It will be difficult for this house to always pay condolence visits to communities or to governors when we have this kind of mishap. I would rather suggest that if it is possible, the house can send a condolence letter to the governor instead of a committee of this house be set to pay some condolence. Thank you.
Thank you. It shouldn't even be an ad hoc committee. If anything at all, it's a delegation, not a committee. But so your amendment is to delete, or your amendment is to change from ad hoc committee to a letter of condolence from the House to the governor and the people of Sokoto. Those in favor of the amendment, please say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Those in favor of the motion as amended, please say aye. Those against, please say nay. The ayes have it. The fourth order of the day is a motion on need for the federal government to intervene in the unwarranted harassment, intimidation and persecution of Professor Austin Uzoma Mwagbara and other Nigerians by Ghanaian authorities standing in the name of Honorable Bamidele Salam. Honorable Salam is invited to move the motion.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. My name is Bamidele Salam. I represent the wonderful people of Ede North, Ede South, Egbedore and Ejibo Federal Constituency of Osun State. Mr. Speaker, before I go on to move the motion, I just want to say that some of us on this side of the aisle were already planning to go on a 3-day prayer and fasting to attract the attention of Mr. Speaker to us in calling us to contribute in debate. But thank God that may not be necessary again if we have broken the ice now, Mr. Speaker. The motion I have come to present, Mr. Speaker, with the leave of the House is a motion on the urgent need for the federal government to intervene in the unwarranted harassment, intimidation and persecution of Professor Austin Uzoma Mwagbara and other Nigerians by the Ghanaian authorities. And I'm urging the House to note that the United Nations Charter on Human and Fundamental Rights guarantees the right to freedom of opinion and that of expression as a fundamental human right. And also to note that recent media report on the termination of the appointment of the professor in question, who is a professor of English language, who was on sabbatical at the University of Education, Winneba in Ghana, over comments he made in a video which went viral a few weeks ago. Informed that Article 3 of the Kampala Declaration on Intellectual Freedom and Social Responsibility states that no African intellectual shall in any way be persecuted, harassed, or intimidated for reasons only of his intellectual work, opinion, gender, nationality, or ethnicity. Also informed that Article 4 of the same Kampala Declaration provides that every African intellectual shall enjoy the freedom of movement within his or her country and freedom to travel outside and re-enter the country without let, hindrance, or harassment, and that no administrative or any form of action shall directly or indirectly restrict this movement on account of a person's intellectual opinions, beliefs, and activities. Concerned that the intimidation, harassment, and unlawful detention of Professor Nwagara is a gross violation of his fundamental rights, as well as the express provisions of the Kampala Declaration of Intellectual Freedom and Civil Responsibility, and concerned about the incessant harassment of Nigerians carrying on their legitimate businesses in Ghana, and that if not addressed, this may pose dire consequences for Nigeria-Ghana relations. I am humbly inviting the House to resolve to 1. Condemn in strong terms the unwarranted harassment, intimidation, and illegal detention of the erudite Professor Austin Uzoma Nwagara by Ghanaian authorities. 2. Urge the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and the Nigerians in the Diaspora Organization to intervene in the matter and ensure that other Nigerians living in Ghana are not denied their fundamental human rights going forward. And 3, to mandate the Committee on Foreign Affairs and Diaspora, when constituted, to ensure that they look into this matter. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, I so move the motion.
Any seconder to the motion? The minority leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My name remains Honorable Dodi Godwin Elmelu. I represent the good people of Anocho Federal Constituency. I'm from Delta State. Mr. Speaker, I rise to second the motion as ably moved by my colleague, Honorable Bamidele. I so second.
Those in favor of the motion, please say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. Honorable Salam, please lead the debate.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker and honorable members. The incident referred to in this motion happened in the mid of the month of June 2019. And it was a meeting of some Nigerians in Accra, Ghana, where Professor Nwagara, who was on sabbatical from the University of Lagos, had to address his fellow countrymen in that country. And
the House Leader, please. House Leader. House Leader. He is not used to the... Please approach the chair.
I don't know if I can continue, sir.
Honorable Salam, continue. Sorry about that.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The opinion expressed by the professor were opinions that were not in any way harmful. The opinion was not in any way inciting. The opinion was not in any way offensive to morality and good conduct. He was, in actual fact, averting the mind of the Nigerian media to the incessant harassment of Nigerians in Ghana and asking that the Nigerian media focuses more attention on the plight of Nigerians in that West African country. In addition, Professor Nwagara did say that the Nigerian educational system is very competitive and in any case could do well, even better than that of Ghana and any other country. Unfortunately, the content of the video was taken by the University of Education, Winneba, and the Ghanaian authorities to mean that the educational system of their country was being despised. A committee was set up in the university where the professor was invited to appear. He was invited by the police authorities in Ghana, interrogated, detained for several hours. Eventually, Professor Wagbara's appointment with the University of Education, Winneba, was terminated. Mr. Speaker, it is my view that one of the hallmarks of the intellectual community worldwide is the freedom of expression. And I was asking a few of my colleagues while discussing this matter a few days ago, whether a professor of American descent in Ghana would have been so treated if he had expressed that same opinion. Will a professor from the University of Columbia in Canada on sabbatical in Ghana who expresses a similar view?
Honorable Chisholm, please approach the chair, please. Go ahead.
So, Mr. Speaker, I believe that this House has a responsibility and a duty to ensure that countries that we mutually have respect for each other, countries that by all means can be said to be beneficiaries of Nigeria's large-heartedness and big brotherliness, countries with whom we share very similar historical and political antecedents, should not be in a position to denigrate, to embarrass, to harass, intimidate, or in any way discriminate against an academic of Nigerian descent. And I believe that unless this House takes a position on this matter to send a very strong signal out that the welfare, the well-being, the security and safety of every Nigerian working anywhere in the world is of paramount importance to us, incidents like this will continue unabated. And so I want to plead with this honorable House that this matter, which has been reacted upon by institutions like the Academic Staff Union of Nigerian Universities and some other bodies, be taken up by this hallowed chamber and a strong warning be sent out as contained in the prayers. I so submit, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Thank you. Any contributor to this debate? Honorable.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My name remains Honorable Chinedu Benjamin Obidigwe, Anambra East and West Federal Constituency, Anambra State. Mr. Speaker, in line to the motion heavily moved our colleague here, Mr. Speaker, it seems like an embarrassment to our country, Nigeria, the way our citizens outside the shores of this country are being manhandled and being treated. Most of our citizens, even beyond Ghana, wherever other countries are treating our case, they seem to be too mean than the way we attend to their own cases. Here in Nigeria, we have a lot of Ghanaians. We have a lot of other countries, our neighboring countries, here in Nigeria. Their cases are not being treated the way our own are being envisaged by them and their own countries. Mr. Speaker, it's a time for the Ministry of Diaspora and other embassies of Nigeria to begin to champion a good crusade that will protect Nigerian citizens in other countries. Mr. Speaker, we need to call a spade a spade. we need to call abomination an abomination. We reserve our rights as citizens, whether in another country or in Nigeria, to air our view, to express our opinion, and to defend our rights. Not to talk about Ghana, that is among the ECOWAS, Economic Community of Africa states. Mr. Speaker, this House, I pray that this House, this very hallowed chamber, should urge the Ministry of Diaspora and as well set up ad hoc committee to liaise with the Ministry of Diaspora to see to the problem of the professor, of a Nigerian professor being sanctioned or being in one way harassed in Ghana. Because we have so many other professors of Ghanaians here in Nigeria. They have their view, they express their opinion, and nobody harass them. Mr. Speaker, I am very much in tandem with the motion, and I agree totally that urgent action is needed. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Chinedu. Any other contributor? No, we'll take Honorable and then we'll put the question. Everybody's tired. Honorable, please.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honorable Gani Johnson from Oshodi Solo, Federal Constituency 2, Lagos State. Mr. Speaker, I'm in support of that motion. However, the prayer 3, which states that we should mandate the committees on foreign affairs and diaspora, I a little bit differ on that prayer. Instead of ensuring compliance there, I want to suggest that the committees on foreign affairs and diaspora should investigate the circumstances surrounding those issues before we now continue with any strong letters to foreign affairs, because without investigation, see, we are only basing our judgment on the face value of the motion on ground. We need to have facts that it is true that this happened. Otherwise, I mean, whatever, any reaction we pursue now should tantamount to our own negative image. So I want to suggest strongly that we should first set up those committees to investigate the circumstances surrounding what happened. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Prof.
Mr. Speaker, honorable members, I'm Julius Inhomere, our federal constituency. I think this motion is very good. First, it tells a lot about how Nigerians are treated abroad. And it says a lot about how our missions also respond to issues that affect Nigerians. not just a question of the Nigerian professor being harassed. There is a challenge that both the foreign ministry, the government, the embassies must come together as well to find a way to begin to send signals that there are particular ways to do Nigeria's country. Like the mover said, there are some countries who cannot treat their citizens beyond rational level, no matter the offenses they have. The second point I want to raise is that the professor in question is a member of the academic staff union of universities, and I used to be in the leadership of that association. I know it has the capacity to also investigate and relate with the authorities and the university organization. They will never get it. And I think Representatives wish to include that dimension in the motion. That ASU itself should rise to its own responsibilities before we begin to call on government agencies to do something about it. The final point I want to raise is that what is happening to Professor Wamba also says something about the entire educational system in Nigeria. Many years ago, Nigerian professors on sabbatical went to other Nigerian universities. Today, that is no longer the case because of the quality of education, standards of education, low income, public standard exchange rates. They now prefer to go abroad. So they are flooding into Ghana, and the Ghanaian authorities is taking advantage of this. If what Honorable Babidele described is what the professor actually did, I'm surprised that they will do that. Because some of us have gone abroad and said worse things and nobody arrested us. So at the level, I do agree that there should be some amendment, the ordering of the prayers, that there should be an initial investigation and conduct before we escalate it to involving other agencies of government. So that at the end of the day, it's not the house that will be embarrassed. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Should we put the question? Those in support of the motion say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Honorable Agusoye here. Okay. The difficult of the day is a motion on failure of manufacturers of beverages to inscribe requisite warnings on the bottles, containers, and containers with the attendant health hazards to consumers. Standing in the name of Honorable Rotimi Agusoye, Honorable Agusoye is invited to move his motion.
Mr. Speaker, dear colleagues, my name is Prince Rotimi Agusoye, representing Ushope Federal Constituency of Lagos. The motion before us has to do with failure of manufacturers of beverages to inscribe requisite warnings on the bottles and containers with attendant health hazards to consumers. The House recalls a revelation some time ago that certain beverages such as Fanta, Sprite, etc. that are produced by the Nigerian Bottling Company PLC as well as other soft drinks by other companies become harmful when taken with ascorbic acid, otherwise known as vitamin C. Also recalls the apprehension expressed by thousands of consumers across the country on the attendant risks and exposure to cancer, terminal diseases, and even death from consuming such drinks. Aware that a motion on the matter was moved on the 22nd March 2017, and the House set up an ad hoc committee to investigate the possible health hazards posed by consumption of those drinks with ascorbic acid. The House is also aware that the House considered the report of the ad hoc committee and of the Nigerian Bottling Company PLC and other companies producing that contain the harmful additives to not later than January 1st, 2019, inscribe warnings on their bottles and containers on the harmful nature of such products when taken as public action. Concerned that up till date, the Nigeria Bottling Company PLC and most other companies producing such products are yet to comply with the resolution of the House to inscribe on the bottles warnings to the public on the danger of consuming the product. Cognizant that if the companies are not made to comply with the resolution, millions of consumers of Fanta, Sprite, and other soft drinks would remain ignorant of the risk they run in continuing to consume the beverages with ascorbic acid, with the attendant risks to their health. Determined to ensure a Nigerian environment that produces beverages that are healthy for consumption and complies with international health standards and best practices. The House resolves to 1. Urge the Federal Ministry of Health and the National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, to ensure that the Nigerian Bottling Company PLC and other companies producing beverages such as Fanta, Sprite, etc. comply with the resolution of the House requiring them to describe warnings on the bottles and containers of those products that consuming them with ascorbic acid will expose consumers to health hazards. 2. Mandate the committees on healthcare services and legislative compliance when constituted to ensure compliance. Mr. Speaker, therefore, I so.
Honorable Gulu, seconder.
Mr. Speaker, sir, distinguished colleagues, my name is Honorable Mohammed Bello. My name is Honorable Mohammed Bello, representing the Parliament of Gama and Mobile System. I rise to second motion heavily requirement. I so second.
Those in favor of the motion say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Honorable Agusoye, do you want to lead the debate? Honorable Agusoye.
Mr. Speaker, dear colleagues, the meat of my motion is on compliance. So I appeal to the House to support the motion. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Rotimi. We'll now put the question. Those in support of the motion, please say aye. Those against say nay. The nays have it. You see why we need e-voting? The ayes have it. Honorable colleagues, it has come to our attention that some members are moving nameplates and changing their seats. It's unauthorized. The seats are labeled and attached to a particular member and customized to him, his name and his data. Particularly because of the new e-parliament procedure we are adopting. So please, if you're moving seats, it is not allowed. You return back to your seats as allocated. Thank you very much. Adjournment. Honorable Deputy House Leader, please move for adjournment.
Mr. Speaker.
One second, comrade. Oh, sorry. Before you move for adjournment, sorry. ad hoc committee to investigate the Bauchi crisis as follows. Honorable Dr. Abubakar Fulata, Honorable Lododo, Honorable Bumi Ojo, Honorable Ben Kalu, Honorable Ahmed Jaha, Professor Julius Yovere, Honorable Sergei Ada, who will be the chairman, Honorable Barrister Bala, Honorable Bamidele Yusuf, Honorable Darlington Okocha, Honorable John Deere, and Honorable Ede. Adjournment.
Honorable Speaker and my great colleagues, I'm Comrade Peter Obiozibia Fatisi. I do hope that this House adjourn till 11 o'clock on Tuesday, the 9th of July 2019. I so move, Mr. Speaker.
Seconder. The brand new minority leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My name is Honorable Dodigo Tumefelu. I represent the good people of Anoto Federal Constituency. Apart from being minority leader, I'm also man of God. I hereby second the motion as heavily moved by the deputy.
Honorable Lumelu, if you keep introducing yourself as man of God, the insinuation is that the remaining 359 of us here are not what? Well, men of God, please. Thank you. Thank you. Those in support that we leave these chambers now and come back on Tuesday at 11 o'clock, please say aye. Those who want us to stay back, please say nay. The nays have it.